Wow, something's going on with power of sale and foreclosure in Southern Ontario. Like for reals. Like what do the youngsters say? Imagine I call a youngster. They're probably like in their 20s and 30s. They just think I'm an old fart. But anyway, frills. There's something going on. Now, what is power of sale? So it's like this. Same as foreclosure. I say that, and a bunch of lawyers are going to say, no, it's not. It's not the same at all. But just hear me out. For the average person, I'll explain it. So if you fall behind on your mortgage payments, you can't pay your mortgage, job loss, marital breakdown, something, illness, whatever the case may be, you just can't pay your mortgage. And you've gone 90 days. The bank can go legal action after 90 days, and they do go legal action after 90 days. By the way, you can go to legal action about 8 business days after you miss a payment. That's the truth. I mean, in the strict world of private lending and alternative lending, legal action starts right away. But let's just think about the process for a second. So the payments are missed, haven't been paying your mortgage. The bank takes legal action. Legal action takes some time. It's not, and it's getting steadily busier. It does take time. People has to go to court. You have to be served. There's a number of months, and some people will tell you, oh no, I can get it done. We can get people under power of sale. We can get it finished in 120 days. More likely it's going to be, 6, 7, 8, 9 months. That's what it's going to take. Now, it can be delayed. People can find ways to delay it. There are Facebook groups, for God's sakes, that'll teach you how to try to delay power of sale actions. But at the end of the day, everybody needs to remember this. You will lose your house. I mean, if somebody gave you a mortgage, the mortgage is some of the oldest kind of contract law on earth. It's hundreds of year old contract law. It's black and white. There's no arguments. They gave you the mortgage. You have to make the payments. If you don't make the payments, they got to get their money back. It's that simple. And normally the only way of getting the money back is going through this legal process, having you evicted from the house. By the way, most people do leave. They leave on their own. And the mortgage company, whoever holds that mortgage, sells the house through a real estate agent. It's not crooked. They don't sell to themselves. There's really meticulous rules of power of sale that you can't vary from. You can't just, I'll sell it to my cousin for a huge, reduction. Can't do any of those things. Has to be MLS listed, has to be an average of 2 appraisals. There's lots of clear regulation about this so that it's handled properly. But at the end of the day, the house is sold. So what we're encountering today is that these problems are in places where the property values have fallen. You see, people, if you've got a lot of equity in your home, you could just sell it, right? I mean, that makes sense. Like you've got a $1 million home, you got a $400,000 mortgage, bad luck, lost job, illness, everything goes wrong. They can't make the payments. You would just sell the house, right? Because you're going to get proceeds of $500,000 out of it. Sure, you would sell the house, of course. But when values drop, which is what we're encountering in all parts of Southern Ontario, with the possible exception of Core 416. Core 416, the values aren't plummeting. The condos are going up in smoke. Yes, absolutely. They're just gone. But if you're a single family home, a semi townhome in Core 416, you're still probably good. But in the outskirts of town, and of course the condos, there's power of sale actions because a lot of those, this is the wild part. A lot of these properties are bought with some element of private mortgaging at some point. Like you might get a first mortgage with an alternative lender and then get, either upfront or surreptitiously get a small private second mortgage behind it. These are not all bank mortgages. When I read through all the power of sales that I see every week, the majority of them are some kind of private lending. Sure, some are banks, absolutely. But there's some kind of small mortgage company that's lent these people money, and they obviously had a problem in the first place, right? So that's why it happened. We see big losses. I've seen $300,000 losses because the house is being sold for less than the purchase price. If you're selling for less than the purchase price, chances are it's a loss. It's obviously a loss to the borrower because their equity has been wiped out. And it may even be a loss to the lender because values may have fallen so far that it's below the mortgage, commonly referred to in our business as underwater. Okay. So I've seen big losses, $500,000, $300,000, $400,000. I saw a $1.1 million loss just last week. Now that one looked fishy to me. I studied it. I read through all the title documents. Something was going on there. Something was off. There was some self-dealing that I could see in that process. But, absolutely somebody lost some money somewhere because it would appear that the mortgage was significantly larger than the sale price, either by $1 million, $1.1 million, or less. But I assure you, people lost money on that thing. There was losses for somebody. Okay. Maybe the ugliest thing I'm seeing, though, is the collapse of elements of student housing. So in Ontario and Canada in general, we went through a horrible experience in 2022 through 2024 of really malicious international student visa scenarios where the evil crappy community college was just recruiting overseas. They paid recruiters overseas to separate people from their money, send their kids here to Canada for a garbage 2-year certificate. They were just rip-off artists. There was hardly any. Sometimes the student was just using a laptop. All the education was online. Horrible, cheating, awful. And at last, after 2 years, the government stepped in and shut it down. But in the meantime, we went to a point where there was about 700,000 student visas issued a year for a couple of years. And it was just a rapid increase. Now, student housing in this kind of bizarre increase in students is a lucrative place. I mean, you buy a single family home, you fill it up with futons, and you rent out spaces in a basement or you're two people to a bedroom, just craziness, and you can make a fortune. But unfortunately, when the government shut that down, the fortune ended and people had owned these student houses. So there's problems with student housing. One horrible deal we looked at was where a individual employed, and he was a victim of his own family, really. His immediate family convinced him to use fake income documents, mortgage document fraud, to buy a house with 5% down that was hours away. I think it was in like someplace in Kitchener-Waterloo or something, and for the student housing, and they filled it up with the mattresses, and then the students all went away. And the idea of 5% down was it's a very easy way you could make money. Like you'd buy this house for 5% down, and then you'd have all these students filling the place up, $800 a month from each one of them. You could mint money for a while, particularly because you got low mortgage rates off of the CMHC mortgage, 5% down. All fake documents, all totally fraudulent income. The person was a student, wasn't working at all, orchestrated by his family. And then he finds out by accident a few years later, all the students gone, his family stopped paying the mortgage. Yeah. And he was going to have to file for bankruptcy because the bank had taken the house away and they were selling it. And he was going to be like a $200,000 loss. And he wasn't even working. Hey, federal government, I told you. Income document fraud. I have the solution. I gave you the solution. You decided you should try to do it, and then you screwed it all up. So just go back to doing it. The point here is there's more of that out there. There are more of these student housing fiascos, and some of them are related to document fraud. It's good to be bad. It's isolated. It's not everybody. It's not a lot of houses, but that's going to be a bad one.